you can now create a course which is $300 for everybody to just buy, and you don't have to be there. You can create one course. They watch all the videos, they see all the demonstrations, because you can pay for it to be created. You can get the videos made, you can get the people who come in and do all the shooting, you get the trainers to come in. All of that will probably cost you maybe about $1,000, but you're making 20 G's a month to create something for $1,000 that you can then sell 300 to each individual person all over the world.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Welcome to another episode of the Trust Thyself Show. It's a show where we speak to people who go from being the underdogs to the heroes in their own stories. And today we got the illustrious, the Princess of Couture, Jayda. How you doing?
I'm doing really, really good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm glad we got to do this. I'm glad we got everything going. I see the mannequin in the background. I see the artwork and the designs on the back.
Yes, we got the stitches at the top.
Yeah, she got everything here. How you doing? Good weekend?
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. I got like a couple things I'm like working on right now, so I've just been trying to like finish my current workload that I got going on, so I can like move on to like a new project that I'm trying to like build. So yeah, this has been like a pretty like light week. Typically I feel like I'm always on like go, like always doing something, but this has been like a pretty light week.
So it's been a pretty chilled week. So what is it? Are you allowed to tell us? Are you allowed to tell us this thing you're working on, or is that top secret?
I can't give like a whole lot of details about it, but
okay, give us a teaser.
Okay, so I'm trying to think the best way to say it. Okay, all right, so I'll say it like this. So earlier this year, and it kind of goes into like what I wanted to talk to you about, but earlier this year, I felt like God told me that I needed to do a fashion show. And so what God showed me was like super big, super like amazing, but I knew it was going to be expensive. You know, I knew that creating this vision that was in my head, that it was going to cost so much money. Like the last collection I did was, it cost me like $10,000 to produce. And I knew like doing this fashion show was going to cost way more than that. But I still just believed that it was going to happen. And so literally like a big opportunity has came through for like the whole show to be covered. And so I'm super excited about it. Super excited about it. So I'm trying to like finish up my current orders and just everything I'm working on now, so I can like focus on that, because once this does happen, like so many like amazing opportunities are going to come from it. So yeah, that's like my next project. Nice.
We love it. Shout out to you, Jayda. And shout out to Mogul Mike, who just stepped in and called you the Princess of the Runway.
Yes, Princess of the Runway. I love that.
That's dope. So I think first thing I want to ask is, so what was the other show that you did that cost you $10,000?
So I put out my first collection last year. It was my testimony collection, basically. And how that came about, basically, I got saved in 2019. Okay. Before then, I really didn't believe in anything. I didn't believe in God. Like, I don't know. I was doing some other stuff, basically. And I ended up getting saved, like, on Thanksgiving Day 2019. And, like, after that, you know, COVID happened. So, like, 2020, we really spent, like, 2020 inside. Yep. But I stepped away from everything. Like, I stepped away from my business. I wasn't taking any orders. I kind of just was like building my relationship with God, and like during that time I received like so much vision and like clarity, like more understanding when it came to my purpose and just what I'm supposed to be doing in fashion. Like all of this stuff came to me like during that time. And so God put it on my heart that I was supposed to create like my first couture collection. And so like before then, even though I've been designing for a long time, like literally I started selling clothes when I was in middle school. So I've been designing for a while, but I feel like I never knew what my thing was in fashion. I feel like I was just like trying different stuff. Like when I tell you I've like done everything, like I done sold swimsuits, fur coats, I done did t-shirts. I literally like have tried so many things, and it's just like I knew I love fashion, but I didn't know like what my thing was, like my niche. And
Gotcha.
so that was like part of the things, like one of the things that God showed me, like once I got saved, was that the couture was for me. Like that was what He wanted me to like do in fashion. And so God told me to create like my first couture collection. And I titled it Testimony Collection, which really just like tells the story of like my salvation, and it's just super, super beautiful. Each piece like represents like a different part of my story, and so I did like so much to create this. Like I have a dance visual. Of course, I did like a mini documentary on it, like nice. Photo shoot, video shoot. Like I did all of this stuff for it, and literally every opportunity I got after that collection released was because of the collection. Like I've had Netflix reach out to me, like all types of like opportunities, like being on Bravo. All of this stuff literally happened because they found Testimony Collection, like something that God told me to do. So it kind of just showed me like, okay, so this is what happens when you give God your yes. You know, like God gives you a vision and you act on it. So when He put this fashion show in my head, I was like, okay, yeah, this is super big. It's probably gonna cost a whole lot of money, but I was like, God is putting it on my heart for a reason, and that means like just like how He provided and made sure I had a way like to do the last collection, He's gonna make sure I'm able to do this one. So yeah.
That's dope, Jay. That's dope.
Thank you.
Love it. So I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions, but first of all, that's major dope. That's major congratulations to you on that. And shout out to you for actually putting it together and believing in yourself to actually do it. So before we even dive into that part, let's take it all the way back to when did you actually start? You said in middle school. That's when you started getting into fashion.
Yeah, that's when I started my business. So I've been
that's when you started your business, but not when you started fashion, or that's when you got into fashion.
When I was 7. So
okay,
my first real clients was like my dolls. You know, I used to make like the cutest albums for them. And so that was like my practice. And then like my aunt, she was a seamstress. So she used to have me like making pillows and different stuff like that. Hey, Portia. But yeah, she used to have me making like pillows and just different stuff like that. But then once I got into middle school, okay, you remember that era where people used to wear like a lot of neon and like neon colors, like neon skinny jeans. I don't know if like you in different countries. I don't know if that was the same like era. But when I was in middle school, it was like everybody wore the neon colors, like these really vibrant skinny jeans, and like these like customized like denim like jackets and pants and stuff. And so before I knew how to sew, that was the first thing I started selling. Was like I used to like get stuff from the thrift store, like denim, and I would like bleach it and dye it and add studs to it and just like do the most really. And then once I got to high school, when I was 15, that's when I finally like learned how to sew. And so fashion has really like been a part of me like for the longest. Like I still have my sketchbook from when I was 7 years old, like my very first sketchbook, and it's filled with like the ugliest little designs, but I was like too proud of them.
All the day one designs.
Yes, like I don't know what I was thinking. I was a child, so it's like they were just so ugly. Like it didn't make any sense at all. But you couldn't tell me nothing. I used to walk around to like everybody in my class, and I would be like, okay, I'm gonna make this outfit for you, and I'm gonna make this outfit for you. Like I really thought I was doing something. Didn't even know how to sew. Like. So yeah.
But yo, shout out to the confidence. I love the confidence that you had, because you need, I think like as an artist especially, or a creator, you definitely need to have that confidence in yourself and just be like, I'm just gonna make this for you, and this is gonna be dope.
For sure. And I feel like honestly, it's crazy how I feel like as a child we actually have way more confidence. like confidence in creating. Like we have these huge imaginations, and as we get older, like things start to change.
Yeah.
Because it's like I feel like as I got older, I started to like lose confidence, you know. And that was like one of the things like I feel like God has like started working with me on was like my confidence. It would be like I would have like a lack of confidence in myself, or even like a lack of confidence in like creating things. So say like I want to create a dress, and instead of like relying on my own creativity, I would like pick ideas from like what this person did and what that person did and put it together to make a dress, because I was so scared to like just rely on whatever ideas were in my head, because I would think like, oh, what if I bring my own vision to life and it's ugly? So instead of like trying and I end up making something ugly, I would just like literally copy a bunch of other people. And so that is like something that I've like grown out of. And so now when I create, I'm like so much more confident in like what I'm able to do, you know?
Nice. That's dope. That is dope.
Thank you.
And we love that. And to be honest, we can see it because you're on Bravo and you got your own documentary, you got Netflix, like you've got a bunch of things, and you ain't even started yet. Like this is still like early in your journey. So
literally, it's really only the beginning. And sometimes it's so cool to think about that. Like I'm still at the beginning of this journey, but I feel like I've already like just within the past like 2 years since I got saved, I feel like I've already made like so much progress. So it's just like I'm 23 now, so just like imagining like where I'll be like when I'm 30, 40, you know, like yeah, for sure.
That is dope. So started at 7, got into it. Those were the first clients.
Yes, those are my first clients.
Those are the first clients. And then your aunt was kind of like your mentor because she was a seamstress as well.
Yeah, so she basically, I'll say she was more so my inspiration. She died when I was 10. And so
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was like really hard for me for a while, just because she like made me want to get into fashion, you know. But after that, I'll say who really mentored me, there was like this old lady I met when I was 14, 15. I met her like a Hobby Lobby, like a little craft store.
Okay.
And she taught classes. She taught like classes in Houston. And they were like $20 a class. So I used to like sell candy at school during the week, so that way I could have money to go to my sewing class on the weekends. And then I could buy my fabric and make a project. Look, I had to, okay? Like, you should not tell me nothing. I was going to be a fashion designer, okay? But she saw something in me. So I kept going to her classes. And eventually she was just like, she had an idea. She was like, how about you come work for me, and I'll teach you like what you want to know about fashion and design, and in return, like she was like, I'll give you free classes, and if you come and help me out with the things that I'm working on my orders, like we could just like help each other out. And so she like worked with me for years, and it's so crazy because I was so hard-headed and she was so patient. Like she used to tell me so much stuff like, okay, Jayda, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. And I just never listened. But then once I finally like left my home, like left Texas, and I moved to Georgia, and I started like working without her, I was like, oh, okay, now I see why she was telling me to do that. So
now I get it.
Yeah, so it's like now I use so much of the stuff that she taught me. But she worked with me for years. I want to say like maybe 5-6 years. But even now, if I call her, like I think she's like almost 70. She's like up there, but she's still sewing. She still be making them clothes. But if I still call her now and I need help with something, like she's still there for me. So yeah, that's really who like mentored me.
I see. So you picked up the skills, learned the trade and the craft, basically underneath her. And then you stepped out on your own. So now at this point, was this where you now went into middle school, or?
So that is actually working with her was like all throughout high school and a little bit into college. Gotcha. Like my first year, or really like first semester of college, like basically up until I left for Georgia, it was me and her. working together. And then once I came to Atlanta, I started getting like new mentors. So I like worked with 2 other people out here, but the person who really helped me in the like space of couture, because the lady who taught me how to sew, she knew the basics. So she helped me with the foundation, like all the like principles that you need to know when it comes to sewing. But as far as couture and draping, I was mentored by Anthony L. He actually won Project Runway. I was mentored by him for like a year.
Nice.
And that's like what helped me so much, because he held me accountable, and he like just really stayed on me, really pushed me, and just got me comfortable with like experimenting and trying new things and like getting outside of the box. And so he was like my mentor in the couture space.
Nice. That's dope. So like this sounds like, so from 7 to like, sounds like from 7 up until almost 20 was learning the craft and perfecting the craft, right? So then when did the business aspect then come in? Even though you'd already been hustling in school, like selling chocolates and candy, like.
So I did start. Okay, I dropped out of college. I don't think I mentioned that. So
okay, this is a different dynamic.
Yeah. So after like a year and a half of college, I dropped out because it was super.
You got a call coming in. Jayda, you're on mute. Yeah, you're still on mute. Still on mute. Now we can hear you, and you're back.
Okay,
and you're
sorry.
gone again. Okay, now you're back.
I came through. Let me put. Is everything good?
Yeah, you're back. It sounds like whoever is trying to holler at you, maybe they needed a new dress.
No, it was a friend calling, but I think everything is good now. So, cool. Dropping out of school.
Yeah.
So it was, the school I went to was about like $37,000 a year.
Okay.
And I paid for it on my own. So my dad, he didn't really want to help like financially with school, just because he wanted me to stay back home in Texas. So it was just like, if you go to another state, you got to figure it out on your own. So that worked for a little bit. The first 2 semesters, but after that, like, it was just
Hold up. We, as Kevin Hart said, we ain't just gonna speed past that one. First things first, the school is 37 G's a year.
Yeah.
And
sorry about that.
No worries. And you, like, I know, like I said, you got a Hollywood schedule, so I know everyone's trying to holler at you. But let's go back. 37 G's for the year. And you were like 20 and you figured out how to make 37 G's?
Oh, okay. So I basically saved up money from when I stayed in Houston the first semester. But of course, you get like financial aid. So I think it was maybe like, I think I had to pay like $5,000 out of pocket a semester after financial aid covered it. So
Gotcha.
Student loans plus extra money left over.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, like, I was going to pay like a little over $10,000, something like that, a year.
Okay.
But
in my head, I was like, "That's a lot of candy you've been selling."
I wasn't doing the whole $37,000. I hadn't even really like done much for my business at that point to even be making that type of money.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I couldn't afford it, like the payments or anything. So I had to drop out. I actually dropped out with like one of my closest friends. He's a designer also. And so I think he was having like money issues with school too, but his wasn't that bad. I think he was just over school. So we were just like, shoot, let's drop out together and get an apartment. And so that's exactly what we did. We got us an apartment in the hood, and it was cheap, so we made it work. And then, but before actually getting the apartment,
yeah,
we had a friend who like let us sleep in her room for like a month while she was going for like Christmas, like the holidays and stuff.
If you're a business owner, you may or may not already have your online presence created. There are some mistakes that can be made, and I don't want you to be making them when you're starting your business online. If you already have your online presence, one mistake you could be making is not actually collecting your leads via your website. This is not the same as general inquiries. A lead is me raising my hand and saying, I'm interested in your particular service. A general inquiry could be something like me asking you, hey, what year did you start your business? The two are not the same. So I've put together an easily digestible checklist of the 5 biggest mistakes you could make online and how to avoid them. It's called the Secret Web Design Checklist. Also, I've got a book and it's called Starting Your Online Business the Right Way. Just go to oyemade.com/performance. That's oyemade.com/performance. And you see the options for the Secret Web Design Checklist and the book to Starting Your Online Business the Right Way. Hope you enjoy those. Now, let's get back to the episode.
And so she let us sleep in her room while she was out of town. And I was like, okay, I got a month to get some money so I could get an apartment to stay in Atlanta. And I knew like I did not want to go back to Texas. Like Texas is not what you think of like when you think of fashion. And so I was like, okay, I have to figure out a way to stay out here. So I was like, I'm going to start doing prom dresses. Okay. Before then, I had only made like 2 prom dresses. Like one was for myself, another was like for a family friend. And my prom dress really wasn't even that good. Like I had really no experience in dressmaking, but I just felt like that was the thing to do. So I went to like a whole bunch of high schools in Atlanta, and I was passing out flyers, just like telling schools like, hey, can you tell your students I'm doing like a raffle for a prom dress? Yeah. And all they have to do to win is like repost a picture of my work on Instagram with a hashtag. I think it was like Jayda prom dress raffle, something like that. And if they reposted it, they would like be entered in for a chance to win.
So you were using social media as a marketing channel?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And so because of that raffle, I think I had like it was like more than 100 people that entered the raffle. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up having like 18 clients my first year and made like probably, I don't know, it was probably around like 18,000 like off of my first like prom season, which was like cool because I had never made that much money before.
I was just about to say.
It was in like a couple of months. It was like from like March to like June or something.
Yeah, so summer period.
Well, no, right before the summer.
Right before summer.
Yeah, okay. And so I basically kept going to all of these schools, and by the time that month ended, I ended up getting like, the month ended before I had to like leave my friend's house. I ended up making enough money to get an apartment with my friend, and so that's kind of what like jump started my business. Like I really, like before I like had clients, but it was like I'm taking the order here, taking the order like a couple months later. It wasn't something like I was doing like seriously. Yeah. But once I was like, okay, this is like the only way I'm gonna have to, this is the only way I'm gonna be able to stay in Atlanta, then it was like, okay, let me take this leap of faith. And so I did it, and it worked out. And so I did prom for a couple of years before I like was ready to rebrand and stop doing prom altogether.
That is so dope. So like essentially your first year you made 18 G's from 18 clients.
Yeah.
From nowhere. So literally not knowing anything about business, but the hustle like, yo, I need to stay in ATL. I need to survive. Mm-hmm. Let me start making prom dresses, even though my prom dress was just okay. And the second prom dress that you made was just okay as well. But still, you were able to get 18 people to essentially pay you $1,000 each.
Mm-hmm.
That is dope.
Yeah, they all ranged, like, really, they were a couple hundred the first year. But I'll say, like, with all my prom clients, plus the clients I had, like, with, all my prom clients, plus the clients I got, like, towards the end of the year, in the middle of the year, it was, like, 18,000 altogether.
That is so dope. Like literally from nothing to something just because you had the will, the belief, and the execution. Not like, oh, my stuff was not that good. I need to make sure my stuff is good first, and then maybe like 2 or 3 months, then I'm gonna come out. You know, like that is dope. That is dope. I love that. And the reason why I picked up on it was because I've got the same, which I always say, I'm like progress over perfection. It perfects itself the more you progress, you know? So
literally. And I'm super grateful for even how like things turned out for me, just because I know a couple of designers who maybe they first started prom and they didn't get like 15, 16, 17, 18 like clients for their first prom season. And so even just that, like, I'm grateful that I was able to make that happen. Now, I made a lot of mistakes. Because that was my first time dealing with that much money.
Yeah.
That was my first time dealing with so many people. Even like there were so many mistakes that I made, but nothing that would necessarily like ruin my brand. But stuff like overbooking myself. Like I had like 10 girls booked on one weekend. And I was not prepared for that at all. And even like most of my clients were out of state. So like dealing with stuff like that, having to create processes and different things like that in order to like still have a great client experience, even if you're like 1,000 miles away from me, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was so much that I was able to like learn from that. And each year that I did prom, like I did prom for like 3 years. So each year that I did prom, I feel like I was able to like learn more and like just continue to develop my business. But another cool thing that really came out of me doing prom is that's when I realized I love dresses. Like before then, you know, I told you I was trying everything else.
Yep.
And so once I did prom, that's when I knew like, okay, dresses, that's for me. Like this is the thing like I enjoy to do, that I enjoy to create. And so yeah, it really helped me in a whole lot of ways.
That is dope. Like just that whole journey, like looking back at it now and look at it now from like an overview, like the fact you went through that process to get to the part of something that you do actually like, and then focusing on that only for like the next 3 years, and then honing those skills and that craft for those 3 years, even though the very first 2 you made were kind of like in the middle, you know. Yo, shout out to you, Jay. That's really dope. Yo.
Thank you. I feel really like the people that did support me, I feel like they could see like I had a vision.
The potential. They saw the potential in you.
Exactly. It's like I definitely had the ideas, but I think what I was missing was all that sewing stuff that the lady taught me. Her name was Miss Donna. All that the sewing stuff she taught me that was going to help with skill and quality. I just never used that. So I think that's what was like throwing me off. It's like I'm trying to create these ideas without using like those foundational like principles and things while I'm sewing. And so once I finally started listening to her, like things like continued to get better.
Dope, super dope. So now we're at this point where we've done 3 years of business, right? You figured out you don't want to be booked 10 people for one weekend because you're not going to be able to fulfill that, right? What else did you learn along the way? Like you must have obviously learned about fulfillment, as in making sure that the dress gets to the person on time. And like, what are all the processes you would say, looking back now, with things that you learned along the way?
So I'll say one of the things that I learned that I'm actually like working on changing now is the importance of experience. So I used to always think or kind of get like confused about that part, like the experience that I give my clients. I didn't know what that should look like. But now, even like having more clarity on like my brand and knowing that my brand is a luxury brand, it's like the importance of actually giving a luxury experience to your clients. Because I used to think that all that mattered was I created a pretty product, And it's just like, girl, these people paying you all this money. Like, you got to give them experience to go with it too, you know? And so that was like something super important I learned. Also, like, just sticking to like your processes. It's been so many times where I literally have a whole like way that things should go. Yeah. And sometimes I kind of just throw that out the window. And I throw that out the window and it ends up like biting me in the butt later. Because I didn't stick to my processes that I created that were meant to like help my business. And so that was like one thing, like whatever processes I create, like stick to them. Also like just getting comfortable with like speaking up for myself, because I started doing prom dresses when I was 18. Some of them parents used to talk to me crazy, like they looking at it like you're the same age as my child, basically, you know. And so I would like avoid, I don't like confrontation, so I would avoid like conversations with parents and stuff. Like I would literally have one of my friends talk on the phone to my client's parents and pretend to be me, because I did not want to deal with it like at all. But even in that area, you know, like I had to grow up. I had to grow up and just like get more comfortable with that. Yeah. And even just feeling like confident enough to say like, okay, this is my business, this is how things are going to go. Like when I'm talking to people, like I've allowed a lot of clients to like push me over, and that I'm like getting better at. Even recently there was like a client that reached out to me and they had like a whole lot of money, and I knew they had a lot of money, and I charged them my regular prices, but they tried to come back at me and say, oh, that's out of my budget. But I'm just like, you're like Gucci down, Fendi down. You have every like designer possible. And you're talking about my price. You can't like afford it. So typically like how I would be in those situations is I'd be like, oh, okay, like I could lower it for you. But I was just like, no, like I'm not about to do that. Like my price is my price. So I had told her, I said, oh, that's so unfortunate. I was like,
that's a damn shame.
Unfortunate. I was like, I'm so sorry about that. I was like, my gowns started $1,500, my dresses started $1,300. I was like, so I told her I completely understand though if you're not able to get a look from me. And then she came back paying my price. So it just kind of goes to show, like, don't let people push you around. So
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just been a whole lot of things, honestly, that I've learned through this. Even just like things like the importance of environment, like morning meetup and different things like that. I've realized the importance of like having like-minded people around you, having people that want to build around you, or even having people that like you can dream big around. You know, it's so many times that you can like have these big dreams, these big visions, and you could tell people and they'll literally be like, that's impossible, or that's not gonna work, or I don't know about that. Like, so even just that, like having people that I can literally like build with, or even though we're all building our own like individual things, like we can support each other along the way. 100%. And so that's been like a super big thing that I've been working on. It's really so much. Like I've learned, like I've literally like learned so much over the past couple of years, even as far as like making sure like your spirit is right, you know. Sometimes we try and like run these businesses but have like so many things like that we're dealing with on the inside, and it's really hard to like grow a successful business if your mind isn't right, if your spirit isn't right, or even if you're not really like connected with God, like if you really don't know like how God wants you to move, like, or what's God's purpose for you and your business. It's just like, so yeah, like having a relationship with God also, like, I feel like that's something that's super important so you can know where you're going or what you're doing. And so yeah, it's just so much that I can literally go on and on about all the stuff that I've like learned the past couple of years. But I feel like really within the past 2 years, it's just been like so much like information like downloaded into me, just because I feel like I've been more intentional about going out and getting more information. So like reading more, getting to like know more people in my industry, getting to know more like just successful business owners, like really understanding like how do you build a successful company, like what does that look like, and it's like you don't even have to be in the same industry as someone to like just learn how to build a successful brand, you know. So even just like studying other successful people, studying how to manage my money, like even stuff as small as like practicing like being grateful, like that's something like that I've been practicing more often, like since last month, like just remaining in a place of gratitude. Like even that is important, like in your business and how like you move through your life. And so it's like there's so many like little parts and so many things that like go into like building a successful brand. So yeah, I can go on and on and on.
Yo, I'm loving it. Like I'm like, it's like it makes so much sense. And the thing is, like, there's so many things you've spoken about that I can, like, I remember going through it myself as well. You know, like, but definitely the attitude of gratitude, that is key. Like, it's something I try to do. I know if Bryn heard me say try, but it's something it's something I intend to do every morning, you know, like 10 minutes of just gratitude and like 5 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of gratitude. Like because that puts you, it's first of all, it sets up your day, but it puts you in a different space of appreciation.
Exactly.
You know, so if there's one thing like I would say to anyone, definitely that. But you know, like I didn't even consider the fact that you as a teenager, you were essentially having to deal with adults and parents. Like that, the level of maturity you needed, like you never said you should hire muscle.
No, for real.
But like the level of maturity you needed to have in that year one to make that 18 G's still, like that, like well done to you. Like literally, because that is not something everybody is able to handle. And even you saying like you had to get your friend on the phone to pretend to be you and stuff like that, you know, like shout out to you for that. Shout out to you.
Thank you. And I say I wish I was more mature, like, or I feel like I handled it well for my first year, but for an 18-year-old to be like dealing with like that much money, I literally spent it all. Like it just
falling.
It went away.
but balling.
It just disappeared. It was now, like just something I'm still working on now. I've got to get better at it. But literally, it was like a joke with me and my friend because he was also like a designer doing prom.
Yeah.
And we used to talk about it like every year we do prom and we make all this money, and then a couple months after prom it's gone. Like the money hasn't even lasted us the whole year, you know? And so that's like another thing that I'm like learning now. It's like reprogramming like how I view money or how I like manage my money, because that like plays a part in my success too, or even like how much I'm able to grow. But it took me like a while to realize that I used to think like the answer was like, oh well, I just need to keep making more money. Like if I make more money, then it won't all disappear. But it's like no, I would make more money and it would still disappear. So yeah, I wish like I often do think back to like prom season and stuff, and just like how I used to have all this money like coming in such a short amount of time. And I just wish like, dang, I wish I would have managed that better. You know, like I wish I would have like not fumbled that bag, but it's all
it's a learning curve.
The journey. Exactly.
It's 100% learning curve, because, and I say this because like I know what you mean, because even with me, like I remember before I got into like web properly, right? My first, my second biz was like doing eBay dropshipping. And this was way back in like 2003 to like 2005, right? And I never saw it as an actual business. I just saw it as something to do when I needed a new pair of sneakers, or I needed a new Xbox, or I needed a new, like one of those things. Like literally that's what I do. But had I had the experience I had now, back then, I would have probably made 100 G's within those 2 years before I even went to university. But I didn't even think like that. I was just like, this is something cool to do when I need to get a new Celtics jersey, some new Jordans, a new something. Like that's how I saw it. So the experience comes when you actually have been through it. The only way you can kind of cheat that process, and not really cheat the process, hack the process, is if you have someone who's already done it and is actually mentoring you along the way, because then they can guide you because they've been through it themselves, you know. So everything you're going through was going to happen regardless, but you still kept your head on your shoulders and you're still doing your thing. Definitely. So shout out to you.
Thank you. And thank you. Hello.
Another call coming in, like Hollywood schedule.
Sorry about that, but
no worries.
I'm grateful for the process, because even like as I face like challenges now, it's so easy to just like reflect back or think like, oh, I remember I went through something similar to this like a few years ago, and so it's like literally everything I've like been through and just the hard times or whatever the case may be, it's like helped me become like a better business owner now. And so definitely just grateful for it all, because I've had some crazy things happen, like just by trying to be a business owner, but it was all necessary, you know.
Definitely. And you know, like, you remember when I think it was last year we had our very first conversation, and I was like, obviously, if you ever need to holler, feel free to holler. Do you remember the price point I said you should be going up to?
I remember you said my stuff was too low, but I don't remember the
I was like, you should be at 5K. That's what I said.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, you should be at 5K, you know, because...
And see, I'm still building up the confidence to even say that. Like, I know I could definitely charge more. Even the guy who mentored me, his gown started at $5,000. Like,
there we go.
He said, I'm not sitting at the sewing machine if it's for less than $5,000. And so it's like, I'm still building my confidence up to that point, honestly. Because I'm starting, I think sometimes you may not view your skill or your talents like as that big or that great, or however you want to say it. And so I don't look at like what I'm able to do as like, oh, this is worth this much, even though I could if I wanted to, but I'm still working on that. And that honestly just plays a part in like self-image. And I'm like working on like building a better self-image, so that way when I walk into a room, I can feel comfortable with saying, oh, my gown started $3,000, period. Like, you know, like, and just leave it at that, instead of like, oh, well, my stuff started at this, but, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, being like, kind of like just beating around the bush about it.
I totally get it. Let's role play. I'm going to buy a dress for you. I'm an interested customer. Hey, Jayda, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. So I've heard like you have these amazing gowns and stuff like that and everything. And I'm looking for an amazing gown for my daughter. So I wanted to know, I want to surprise her with it for her prom. So I wanted to ask, are you able to fit her in, and what are your prices?
So I definitely will be able to fit her in. We can schedule a consultation. My gowns start at $2,000. My gowns start at $2,000, and they really just, the actual price determines or is dependent on like the details and different things like that in the gown. I just got so nervous. Let's start over. Okay.
Why are we getting nervous? Because I remember what I said was 5.
It's just like, okay, an email, I can, you know.
Oh, in the email. No. We're doing
in person. In person is different.
We're doing this face to face. Okay, so
I get so nervous with like in-person interactions. I don't know why. I just do. Even like getting on this call, I was nervous about.
Well, so far so good. That's why I said let's role play it. So, or do you want me to be Jayda and then you be the one to ask me the pricing?
Yeah, let's do that. So
okay, cool.
I can see how you do it.
All right, cool.
Okay, so I am looking for a custom couture gown for my next red carpet event. Would you be able to fit me into your schedule, and what are your prices like?
Excellent. I'm so glad you got in touch with us. So I know we're all busy, but let me understand. When is the event?
The event is in 3 months.
It's in 3 months, and it's a red carpet event.
Mm-hmm.
What is the experience you're looking to provide with people? Like, what is it that you do?
So, you're saying what is it that I do?
Yeah, what is it that you do? Like, are you a celebrity? Are you an artist?
Oh, yeah. So, I'm a celebrity. I'm a singer.
You're a singer? Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I'm a singer. And I want to make sure that I have a look that represents me, that is different from what everybody else has on. Okay. And I wanted to just tell my story. When people see me, I want people to stop and look and be like, wow, that is so different. That is so unique.
Gotcha. So we want to steal the show at the event. That's what we want to do. Mm-hmm. We want people to see you, first of all, be intrigued by you, but at the same time, stop the show.
Yes.
And we're still going to keep it classy. We're going to keep it elegant. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you said it's in 3 months and everything. Okay. I think we definitely can do that. Now, from understanding everything that you said, in terms of the experience, what experience are you looking to have when people come over and speak to you?
I want people to be intrigued and want to know the story behind my gown. Like, I want them to have questions about, like, what am I wearing? I want them to even just want to know who the designer is, honestly. Okay. But I want it to be something that I feel confident in wearing. I want it to be something that becomes like an archive piece of mine. You know, some of the greatest celebrities, they have these pieces that are archived, like Marilyn Monroe, or even Michael Jackson, how they just hold on to those pieces, those signature pieces that they wore. That's how big I want this look to be.
Awesome. I think, so we're making something totally unique, totally elegant, totally amazing. And from what you said, you want the experience that people have coming to you, and at the same time, the experience you have showing it to the outside world. So that experience that you have is about your confidence, about you feeling good about yourself, about you feeling amazing with yourself when you walk in that room. So it's definitely something that we can do. It's something that we have done in the past, and we will definitely be honored to actually make this for you. It will definitely be a custom piece, bespoke specifically to you. But we would definitely need to have a little bit more of a story with you, just to understand like the elements, the colors, your background, so we can infuse that within the gown and the dress. Okay. That we will do on a consultation call. With regards to your other questions as to where we start in terms of our pricing, our investment starts at $5,000 for dresses. So moving forward with the consultation call, I'm happy to send that over to you, and then we can take it from there. But also please note that it starts at 5, but goes up to 20, 30, 40K, because those are the type of custom pieces we make.
You want to work for me? You want to handle sales? No, that was really good though. That was really good. That was perfect, actually. I wish I could do that.
Well,
I would have to practice that.
The good thing about this is saved, because this is good. This is alive, so this is saved. You should go back and watch it over and over again. The second good thing is you could always holler at me and ask me. That's the second good thing.
I know.
You know that already. So, and the third good thing is you have this to practice, because the thing about anything, be it sales in fashion, sales in anything, it's about understanding what the customer is actually looking for, and then providing that to them, provided that you can actually give them that transformation or give them that result that they want. Now, you've been doing this since you were 7, so there is no doubt that you can definitely give them the transformation and the result. There is no doubt about that, right? So now it's a case of understanding what it is they want specifically, and you them custom make whatever it is that they want for them. Yeah. Especially with high end of fashion, it's all about the experience that they want within themselves and the experience they want to the outside world. Like whenever you see, be it Adriana Lima on the catwalk or at any event, Giselle Bundchen and Naomi Campbell, Tyra Banks, like that was everything. Everything was always about the dress. Jayda when she wore that green at the award show.
Oh yes,
like, it was everything. 100%. Like even how many years after we'll still talk about J-Lo's green dress. You know, that's the effect that he made, because it's the effect on the outside world and the experience that she gives to the outside world, as well as the experience she gets within herself. That's why when I said to you 5Gs, and that's me saying that's low, that's like practice point, I think. You should be starting at 5 to practice and then go up to like 15, 20, 30, you know, because you have the skill set for 15, 20, 30. But me and you, we're definitely going to practice. We're definitely going to practice. You know, I want you to be doing 30, 40, 50 and saying it confidently. And if the person says anything like, do you know what, I'm kind of busy right now, so you have a think about it and come back to us, you know, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, shout out to you, Jayda.
Like, hearing you say, or hearing how like that whole thing just went, it's like you saying 5,000 doesn't sound crazy.
It doesn't sound crazy. Like, 5,000 actually sounds like
unreasonable, like, or anything, just because of like how the conversation went, how confident you sounded. So it's just like saying 5,000 or even 10,000 doesn't sound like, oh, whoa, like, you know. But if I am coming to people and I'm like sounding like not that confident, or however, you know, it's like I feel like if people see like any like bit of doubt in me when I'm speaking to them or whatever the case may be, I feel like that kind of opens the door for them to come in and say, well, let me get it at this price, or you know, just try and bargain with me. But it's just like, you're not going to bargain with these other high-end stores. You're not going to bargain when you go to Gucci or wherever the case, you know?
All right, so whether you're a business owner providing a service or you're an e-commerce business with products, you know you need a website. You're a business owner, which means your website is an asset that's meant to work for you round the clock, no lunch breaks. It should position you as the expert, attract the right type of customers, and have a system in place for those potential customers to book you for appointments, pay you for consultations and other services, as well as buy your products on your website. And even when someone doesn't pay you right there and then, it should have a follow-up system in place that allows you to collect that lead and then convert that lead later on down the line. And all of this needs to happen automatically in the background. Now, high performance businesses are the type of clients who tend to need these solutions, and they're the type of clients we already work with. So if you're in the 5-figure range, or you're already doing 6 to 7 figures, but you know you're not yet taking full advantage of the internet in the way that's right for your particular business, the solution is this. You need a high performance client attraction website for your high performance business. One that's custom made to work for you 24/7, whilst you focus on growing and scaling your business. So go to www.oyemadeit.com/performance, select the option for web design. Alternatively, you can go and click the link in the description, or there should be a link in my bio on Instagram. Remember, this is not for everyone. This is for businesses who are looking to level up, scale up their business, and stop leaving money on the table. We work with businesses that are a right fit and those that we believe we can help achieve their business and financial goals. So that's oyemadeit.com, oyemadeit.com/performance, or there should be a link in the description below, or there's the link in my bio on Instagram. We look forward to hearing from you and working with you. Now, let's get back to the episode.
One thing I always ask people, like, now we have a different system. Like, we actually have our intake questions before people even get to speak to us, because that way we know the people who are actually coming in, the people who are interested. And the other thing, and I learned this from Myron, right? And he goes, before people meet you, they should know what level you are. Are you high end? Are you middle end? Are you low end? Right?
That is so true.
Before they even meet you, if I'm going to Rolls Royce today, I'm not going there to say, you know what, the Wraith, it looks dope. I saw it in Drake's video. I mean, what if we cut it down by 60 G's? Like, can you guys do that for me? We're not having that conversation, Like, as soon as I start talking like that, I'll be like, all right, cool. Maybe you need a Rolls Royce T-shirt or a cap. That's over on that side, Like, you could get a cap on that side. So before anyone comes to your brand, they should know the level that you're on, and that's high-end luxury, right? No one goes to Gucci and says, yo, you know what? Let me take off a little, like, do we get a discount? Like, no one goes there saying that. No one goes to Hermes saying that. No one goes to YSL saying that, or Dior. So why should they be saying that with you? That's what I'm saying. True. Position your brand like that, so that when people are coming, they're like, yo, I better have Jayda's money, otherwise she ain't even going to speak to me.
Yeah. And I say I've gotten a little better at that, or at least I'll say because of my branding. Like, I've worked so hard over like the past like year or two, really like rebranding my page, because since I wanted to move away from prom, I didn't want people to see me as like a prom designer, I wanted people to see my brand and think, oh, that's couture. Oh, this is who I'm coming to for my red carpet, for my wedding, for my anniversary, like for my 40th birthday, like all of that stuff, like anything that's just like a big moment in your life. And so I had to like do so much like with my branding, like different types of photos, and even like just a whole different type of content, honestly, because I'm like speaking to like a new age group. Yeah. And so I will say now I am at the point, like, when people come to me, like, they expect to pay $1,000, $2,000. It's not like, it's a few times that, like, how I mentioned the lady who was like trying to get me to like go down on my price. Like, I'll get that every now and then, but still I feel like they expect to pay something with a comma, like they expect to pay something with a comma. But I do feel like I can really go up on my prices more, just because I know there's so much that I want to do for my clients, as far as like having dress boxes and even like getting videography for like the experience. Like, I want to have like videography from like really for the whole experience for my clients. So while they're getting their fittings done and just all types of stuff like that, like I want it to just be this really cool, unique experience for them. Even like hiring seamstresses. Like the last order I did, I hired 2 seamstresses to come and help me. But stuff like that like costs money. Like I think I've had to spend like maybe almost $600 like to have 2 seamstresses come and help. And so with me paying that much, it's like my prices should be higher because of that,
100%.
And so
100%, Jay.
Yeah, so I'm comfortable with what my clients pay me now, but I know I could be getting more. And so I think I have to move from the spot, or move from the place of being comfortable to like getting out of my comfort zone, and now like having my clients pay me like starting at $3,000, and then maybe they later down the line we work it up to $5,000. So let's move up to like $3,000.
Do you know what? Me and you, when we talk, we're gonna have, and this is a gem for anyone out here, Jayda, because you make dresses, make a dress that is $50K. Just make it, not because you want to sell it to anyone, but just make it and post it on your social media, right? You put the price to it, and you know why it's worth $50K. Let people see that you make dresses of $50K, right? That's going to build your confidence, and it's going to put you through the process of actually doing that. And when people ask you about that dress, that's our $50K dress. So people already instantly know she's doing $50K dresses. Yeah. So if I'm paying $5K, I'm going to steal here. Yeah. You feel me? So but don't worry about it.
That's a really good idea to do that.
100%.
Even when you said it, it made me like a little, I don't know, not nervous. But it's like, whoa, for a dress. But it's like, it makes sense. It's
100%. 100%. And I can say these things confidently because I have my own high-end brand. So that's why I can say these things confidently to you, and I can give you informed moves, not just, oh, try this or try that. Like, I can actually tell you stuff that can work, you know? So, yeah, shout out to you for that. And I'm definitely going to get you to this 50K mark.
It's up there. Like, I can do it. I know that's somewhere I can get my brand, or at least that's where I'm trying to build my brand to be.
If Bryn was here, she'd say no trying.
She definitely would.
Ain't no trying.
I am going to build my brand up to that point. Like,
there we go.
I guess how I envision my brand, I have so much confidence in like what I'm actually building, like what it will be in the future. But it's like I need to take some of that confidence that I have in my brand for what it will be in the future and like have that confidence in me now. It's like I know how big Jayda is going to be. Like lately, what I've been saying probably like the past 2 or 3 months is Jayda will literally hold the same weight as Gucci, point blank, period. Like,
and better.
Yeah, literally, like just how people say, oh, I'm about to go to Gucci, or that's what I'm going to for my custom gown for this event, or whatever the case may be. Like celebrities will like go to Gucci for custom stuff. Like it'll be the exact same thing for Jayda. Even as far as like how long Gucci has been around, like my brand is going to be a brand that has longevity, and it will be here for generations, like for my kids and my kids' kids to like take over, you know? Exactly. And so I know, like having a price point like that, a $30,000 dress, a $40,000 dress, $50,000 dress, like that's nothing for like what I'm building. But I get so caught up and focused on like where am I at now? Like what am I building at this or what do I have at this very moment? And so I think that's where I get distracted or like kind of thrown off when it comes to pricing my stuff higher, you know?
100. I totally get that.
I also say for the person who just asked what I consider doing ready to wear, I'm actually working on that now. So hopefully by the end of the year, my ready to wear collection will be ready to launch.
Everyone who's listening, before Jayda gets to the 5K mark, which will probably be like next week, you better put in your orders. So I'm just letting you know now, she's at 2K now after this call. So you better put in your orders because she's going to be at 5K as soon as I'm done with her. So just let you guys know, giving you fair warning, you know. So, and the other thing I'm also going to say to you, Jay, is this. Your price reflects your brand. If I'm Rolls Royce and I'm telling you, oh yeah, you can get our Rolls for like 4 Gs, would you not look at me and be like,
that's true.
There's got to be something wrong with that. Or even better, I buy a Rolls Royce and I'm saying to you, I'm going to sell it to you for 4 Gs. Would you not be like, what's wrong? Is it like a Toyota with a Rolls Royce on the outside?
No, for sure.
So you're like people will believe you when your price matches what they expect. Like again, from Myron, no one expects you to be the cheapest, and no one believe you're the best if you're the cheapest. No one expects you to be the cheapest if you're the best. So the price needs to reflect what it is you're actually doing with your brand.
No, that's true. And I'll say, so I don't think I've mentioned it on the live, but I have a sewing company. And I'll say like with my sewing company, that's like a big issue that I have. Like I know I have so much knowledge and there's so many things I can teach my students, but I feel like a lot of the times I have to keep discounting myself. Like, oh y'all, it's a sale on my class, or you know, like to get people to come in so they can see how valuable it is. And then it's like I realized though each time like students come in, like I had one student come in, like she paid like $300 for one of my classes.
Yeah.
And then she was telling me how there was another lady in her hometown who was charging like $700 for a class, and it was only the basics. I was teaching couture. And so then she was just like, if you would have been charging $700, I would have paid that. And so it just had me thinking like, dang, I'm only charging like $300 for this class.
There we go.
And even like with each student I have, they always tell me like how valuable it is, how much they've learned, and how much they get from it. But when it comes to like my pricing, I feel like I think like I want a lot of people to be a part of the class, or I want a lot of people to see the value in it. So it's like I'd be so quick to throw out a discount or something like that when I really don't need to. It's just like the people who can see its value just from like looking, they'll join it. But I feel like to get everybody to reach more people, it's like I gotta, bring the price down super low.
Then what you just said there is the problem and the solution at the same time. You want to hit everybody. Why?
Yeah, I mean,
why do you want to hit everybody?
I guess because I want to help a lot of people.
Okay, now, why don't you focus on the people that will allow you to help everybody else? Okay?
Sure.
Focus on the high-end folks who understand what it is that you do, who appreciate what it is that you do. They're not coming here to squabble with you. Your Rolls Royce, they're coming in to buy your Rolls Royce products or your Rolls Royce services. They already know all of that, so they expect that, right? Now, when you have that, you then have the financial capabilities to go out and help other people who may not necessarily be on Rolls Royce level.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You feel me? That
makes sense.
That is the financial literacy that in business a lot of us miss, myself included, because I was like, oh yeah, I want to be able to help everyone. But you hear me when I speak. We make high performance websites for high performance businesses. That's who we focus on, which allows me and my team to create stuff for other people who may not yet be high performance, but they want to get to that point. You feel me? So if you're focusing on the Beyoncés, the Donnies, the Ronnies, like all the ladies, all the boss ladies on the higher income level, right? And you're doing a great job for them, and you're making, let's just say you're making 20 G's a month conservatively, right? Let's just say that. You can now create a course which is $300 for everybody to just buy, and you don't have to be there. You can create one course. They watch all the videos, they see all the demonstrations, because you can pay for it to be created. You can get the videos made, you can get the people who come in and do all the shooting, you can get the trainers to come in. All of that will probably cost you maybe about $1,000, but you're making 20 G's a month to create something for $1,000 that you can then sell 300 to each individual person all over the world. Yeah,
that makes sense.
That
makes a lot of sense.
So
it's like I'm able to help more. I really will be able to help more people.
Exactly.
When I make more.
You make more to help more.
You just made something click, because even so, how for Morning Meetup we're reading like Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I really do want to be able to help so many designers through my business, but it's just like you have to have money to be able to help anybody.
There we go.
So it's just like trying to lower my prices or keep my prices low doesn't really do anything for anybody. And I think I don't know if this is from Myron, I feel like he could have said it, but when your prices are low, I know that people don't take it as serious.
Yes.
And so
people don't pay attention.
Exactly, yeah. And so that makes sense though, like me charging more with my gowns and charging more with my classes will allow me to like help more people. Because like one thing I really wanted to do like through my sewing company for like the past 2 years is like have designer grants. So like actually fund somebody's like collection, especially since I saw how much good things and blessings were able to come from me for like doing my first couture collection, and that was $10,000. If I was able to give somebody $5,000 and like help them produce their own couture collection or whatever the case may be, like I would really be able to help them. But
100.
you have to have money to do that. So that's like
100.
a really, really good way to look at it.
Definitely. It's the only way to look at it. You need to provide value and the transformation to the people at the level that you want to serve, so that you can use that financial capability to serve everybody else who may not yet be at that level.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like that is that right there is the process, because the only way you can bring people out and take them in the world that we live in, the societies that we live in, which is all focused on capitalism, is to have the capital. If you don't have the capital, you can't actually engage in capitalism to help the people that you do want to help. So focus, make sure your prices match the people who you want to help. And then it allows you to come back down and help other people and lift them up. You know? So that's definitely what you want to be doing, Jay. Don't worry.
No,
like I said,
absolutely right.
Next week, guys, $5,000 coming through, so that's the starting point.
No, for real. Honestly.
That's a starting point. And shout out to everyone who else has jumped in and they dropped the gems. So I actually wanna go back to the point where you involved the salvation in 2019, and that was now a whole new chapter, because I remember you said, when you got saved, everything went on a different angle, and everything went on a different trajectory, and a lot more things started coming in. Oh, shout out to Tabby. Tabitha is in here as well. TJ.
There we go. All right. I had to fix my camera and stuff, but so I'll say it's so much that goes into that. So I'm trying to think where to start. So one of the things that really helped me like during that time was I got clarity on like what I needed to be doing, or I got more clarity on like what I was building. And even like as time goes by, I still get more clarity on the vision, like what I'm working towards. Like recently I figured out like what my actual mission is behind my brand. And so that was like a really big thing for me. But I honestly think it all comes down to my light keeps shutting off. But I honestly think it comes down to God showed me like what to create or what I needed to be doing, and I went towards it. I gave God my yes, and I just continued to move towards it and build that thing. And everything after that has just came to me so easily. I used to have to reach out to all of these people to get opportunities. I had to send all these emails. I just like, I had to put out a lot more work before then. But now everything literally just comes to me. Like I still get so like shocked and just, I'll be in awe, because all these like network, like TV networks finding me, like all of these stylists following me. Like I only have a few thousand followers, and so I know it's people out there who have like 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 followers, you know, so it makes sense for this stuff to come to them so easily. But for me to have like such a small brand and like things just come so naturally now, I feel like the only reason that it is happening so naturally and so easily is because I'm walking in my purpose. And that's like the main thing I want to inspire people to do, like through my brand. I don't care if you're in fashion or not, like I want to inspire people to walk in their purpose, because I feel like when you are walking in your purpose, things will just flow. Like I feel like things are going to like move how they need to, and not just like walk. Well, I'll say a lot goes into walking into your purpose. So it's just like once you know what it is that you need to do, I feel like it's also important to like steward over that. So doing what you can to continue to grow that craft, doing what you can to learn what you need to learn, like investing into your knowledge and investing into your mindset. Oh my gosh, that's such a big thing. Like making sure your mind is in the right place. Like, so I feel like once you do those things, it becomes so much easier for you to like walk in your purpose. And whatever you have like your eyes set on, whatever you're like set on building or moving towards, everything will just like come to you so easily like through that journey. And so that's why I feel like things have like just moved like that for me. Like,
nice.
God told me to do something, I said yes, I built it, and opportunities came like following that immediately. Now God is telling me to do this fashion show. I say yes. And I know like after this fashion show, so many big things are going to happen like as a result of it. And so I'm continuing to just like prepare myself for this next level, this next project, this next opportunity, because I know the everything that I need, all the opportunities, just all of that is going to continue to flow to me as I like move towards those goals.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And we love that, you know, and I love the fact, because Inera said this, it goes, you don't need followers, you only need customers. And that's a fact. You don't need.
No, that's true.
Yeah, you don't need, like, I am happy to only have, and you know, this is a funny thing, right? The equation for a millionaire is actually 1,000 people giving you 1,000, right? So 1,000 people giving you $1,000. That's really all it is. So essentially, if you're able to get 1,000 customers, right? And let's just say you were only doing 1,000 in terms of your, like, that was your highest point in terms of sales. That's really all you actually need, 1,000. And there'd be people who have 20,000 followers, 30,000 followers, 100 million followers, but actually all you really need is 1,000.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But then next week when we are at
I was just about to
5K,
say that. I was just about to say that. We raised it to 5,000.
Exactly, it's a whole different ball game. You don't even need 1,000. You feel me? So that is just something to always remember, particularly as you go on your journey. And another thing which I also wanted to ask is, what was it that gave the clarity? Because you said that essentially before you got saved, you were, I guess, an atheist, or you didn't really have any belief in higher power?
I didn't really believe in anything,
So what was that turning point that made you say, because this is another thing, although then again, coming from a melanin rich household, as I like to call it, it's usually unlikely to have it's usually unlikely to have the opportunity to say, oh, you don't believe in anything, or you are not believing in X, Y, and Z. It usually, so that's why I was intrigued when you said that, because what was it that put you in that space to begin with? But then what was the turning point that allowed you to say, actually, there is a higher purpose, there is a higher power, there is something that is greater than me, which I can see myself, I believe in? Because I do have a couple of friends who are atheists, and I don't I'm not one who tries to convert people, but there is something which I always say: if you have extreme bad, there has to be the opposite side, which is the extreme good. You know, so if we say one thing is the extreme bad, then this other thing must be the extreme good, you know, to counterbalance it. So what was the point where you were like, actually, I want to figure out or I want to become and learn?
So I say, well, I wasn't an atheist. I don't know if the word is like more so like spiritual. I don't know, but it wasn't like atheist.
Okay, so atheist is not the word.
Yeah. Oh, well, my mom's on here. She just said it. She didn't force me into like a specific belief. And
hey, Mama Jayda. Actually, I like that. My mom didn't force me into a specific, right? Okay, so she allowed you to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah. And so I had never just considered myself like a Christian or anything. Like I grew up in the church when I was little, but it wasn't like I was like actually having like a relationship with God, or I was sitting around praying or anything like that. It was more so like my aunt, she would take us to church, or like, you know how you can go to church on holidays, or like, yeah, stuff like that when I was little. Once my dad went overseas, he like worked for the military.
Yeah.
Once he went overseas, really going to church kind of just stopped. I was living with my mom, and like she said, she didn't really force nothing like on me. So yeah, I didn't really like, yeah, so I just kind of stopped believing, because I never really had like a real belief in God before that point. But I'll say like what the switch was, I was with my, at the time, boyfriend. I don't know if we were just friends. Oh, we were, yeah, he was my boyfriend at the time. Okay, so yeah, I was with him, and he was talking to a friend about how the friend was talking about how he had just got saved and how he had gave his life to God and stuff. And I was listening to their conversation, and once it was done, once the conversation was done, I'll say for the first time ever in my life, I just had like this feeling on my heart, like I want to get to know God. I never had that feeling. Like I never cared to like want to know who God is or what God is. Like it never was something that interested me. Like I'll say it maybe like the idea popped up in my mind a few times. Like I guess like I had questions about God just because all my friends are Christian and things like that. But I never just was like, oh, I wanna be saved, or I wanna be Christian until that moment. But it wasn't like someone like asked me to do it, or was questioning me about it. I was just listening to their conversation. I felt like that was the first time I ever like felt a touch from God. And it's so hard to explain, but I just never had that feeling in that moment. It was just something in me telling me like, say you want to get saved right now. Like, say it. And it was so heavy on my heart. And so then I had turned to him and I said, I want to get saved. And he was like, you for real? And then I was like, yeah. And so then he had called his mom, and then she had like prayed for me, and then they kind of just like walked me through like what that meant. And from that point on, I started like building like a relationship with God. But I'll say like as time went on, I think what really helped me like kind of get clarity and like figure out what it is, like the purpose God had on my life, is the fact that I took time to like step away from everything. I feel like as we go through life, it's so much noise. Like you have like your parents probably in your ear, or your friends in your ear. You have social media in your ear. You have so much like noise around you. Sometimes it's so hard to just know like what my purpose is or what I'm supposed to be doing, because so much is like happening around you. And so I feel like because I actually took the time to like, I stopped taking orders. I really just like, I stopped getting on social media like that. Like I just took time to step away. I was able to get so much clarity and hear clearly what it was that I needed to be focused on, what it was that I was building. I could see the vision clearly, like years and years down the line of like what I'm working towards. And then once I got that vision, I was like, okay, now it's time for me to get back up, get back on social media, like get back out there and build this thing to life, you know?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah. So that's like the best way to explain it.
That's dope. That's dope. Like, because it was all organic. And I love that. I was just intrigued because I was like, this is definitely an interesting pivotal point, because now it's such a big part of you and such a big part of what you're building. So, and like just the spiritual growth that you've now enjoyed because of that, is that like that's a whole different aspect as well to you, and like a whole new dimension for yourself. So yeah, that's super dope.
Thank you.
Yeah, like super dope, and I'm happy that it is something that you embraced and you enjoy, because that is another part. Like I was having this conversation with Kepler, I think about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and we were discussing how like religion, in my opinion, is not necessarily the issue. It tends to be man-made divisions that cause issues between people, right?
Yeah.
And like we went into a whole spiel about it, but I'm glad that your journey has been organic and you've been allowed to find it your way and enjoy it your way, because it seems like it feels more like something that you built yourself, not something that was forced on you or you felt compelled to do. You know, you found it for yourself, you're happy with it, and you're enjoying it. So yeah, shout out to you, shout out to Mama Bear, and shout out to the parents, because
that was definitely I'll say, like, I am really even grateful for how all of that happened. That it was something that I realized on my own that I wanted to come to, because I think even when I didn't believe in God, I feel like I told my dad before, and he got mad, and he was like, "Oh, we're about to get you up in church," just like it was just like instead of just kind of listening and like seeing where I was,
just understanding where you're coming from.
His automatic response was like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna get you into church," when that really doesn't do anything. Like, church, it like a relationship with God isn't necessarily about church. It's like exactly what it is, like a relationship. And so I had to spend time like getting to know God. And so I can say personally for me, like, I have a relationship with God because I know that God, I've actually felt the touch from God. I've had time in God's presence. Like, God has literally painted pictures like in my head and showed me like what my life is going to look like. Even the fact that God told me to do testimony collection. And so everything has just like flowed since then. Like, you can't tell me God is not real. Like, but like I said, that is because what I have experienced, you know?
Your journey specifically.
Exactly. So I encourage, honestly, everybody, and I actually made a post about that. Especially if you are in a place where you feel like you don't know like what to do with your life, or you are struggling like finding your purpose or anything like that. I feel like take some time away and really like try to get to know God. Like, God has shown me like what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, and I feel like He will do the same thing for everyone else. Like, we literally have a purpose. Oh my God, I have to actually say this. Okay, so
let's go.
I'm reading a devotional, and it is so cool to me. So it's part of it talks about how we are all like creators, you know?
Yes.
And so just like how God is a creator, like
we all have that power
also,
too.
And so the cool thing is, so I don't know if you're the same way when you come up with ideas, but it's like, well, I feel like this is just how ideas work in general, but the idea comes in your head, like the purpose, like, oh, I want to create a show that does this. I want to create a gown that looks like this. The purpose, the idea is now in your head. Then you bring it to life by creating the actual thing. And so you had the purpose, then you created something that needed to be here in order for it to fit that purpose. So God was the exact same way with us. Like, God knew that He needed to create you, right?
Yes.
Like, he knew, like, everything that you do, He created that purpose first. Like, He said, I want a person that does this and does that and looks like this, and like, He created the purpose, and then He made you, and literally every single thing about you, every single detail, like down to like the shape of your fingernails, like literally every single detail about you is literally necessary and required in order for you to fulfill this purpose that God has given you. So it's just like, when people say like, oh, like nobody can take your purpose from you or anything like that, that is so true, because our purpose was literally created before like the idea of us was even like created. Like, God created a specific purpose and then assigned a person, created a person uniquely to fulfill this and bring it to life. And so when I like just realized that, I was just like mind blown, because it gives you so much confidence, and also just allows you to rest in knowing the fact, like, it allows you to rest in the fact that, like, what is for me truly is for me. Like, it's no need for me to compete with this person and the next person, because my purpose is literally mine. Like, my name is signed on it. It is for nobody else, you know? And so, yeah, like, once I learned that, it just was like really like a mind changer, or whatever you want to say. It just shifted my mind, honestly, just when it comes to like purpose and things like that, because I know that God created like this idea for me to fulfill. Like, God knew that what I was going to build. God knew that a household name that's ran by this black girl from Houston, Texas, like it's like he knew that that's what he wanted. He knew that he wanted a brand that was going to inspire so many other black women to be on this earth. He wanted a black girl here that was going to help other black women to be able to create couture businesses and help them grow in their craft. So it's just like he literally thought of all of this that I do, and then created me. Like, and every detail about me is literally necessary. So it's just like, even how some people have like issues with like themselves, or maybe you feel like, oh, I wish I wasn't born like this. I wish I wasn't born into this type of family. But it's just like, no. Every detail down to like your parents, how you were raised, like what school you went to, what area you grew up in, all of that is so necessary to your story, your journey, your purpose, because it's needed in order for you to fulfill whatever it is you're supposed to be doing in life.
That's 100%. That's a fact. That's a fact. You tell them, Jay. You let us know. Pastor Jay in the building, folks. Yeah, that's dope.
Leave with a word on Sunday, okay?
She gave us a word. Oh yeah, that was interesting for me to know, actually, like your journey just with that, and like the actual results and what your growth has been on that is amazing, and I love it. So shout out to you. Congrats, like majorly. So
thank you.
I think now the last thing I wanted to ask you. Oh, because someone. What's this? I remember watching you speak on social. Oh yeah, TJ. Yeah.
Thank you.
Shout out TJ and everyone else who's just jumped in. Yeah. What I wanted to now ask you is going back to the shows that you had. So you had the testimony show, and you said like that was 10 G's that you put together to actually make that happen. Now, what other shows, and this is another thing also before I forget, the fact that you've got documentaries and you've got Netflix and all these kind of guys, you definitely need to be at 5K by next week, because no one's going to believe you're on Netflix and you're charging 1G. That's just a fact. Like, no one's going to believe that. So next week, it starts in a couple of hours. Monday starts, so 5K, let's go.
I will raise it up to 2,500. I'm cool with that.
Okay, you can raise 2,500. Then when me and you speak, then we'll take it to 5. So I'm happy with that. Slow progress. I'm happy with that. As long as we have progress, but we'll make that happen. But you said you put 10K together and you made that show. The reason why I ask you this is, why did you need to, or no, did you ever think of doing a show that you didn't have to pay for, is actually the question.
Well, I didn't get the total 10,000 at once. And honestly, I want to say at least half of that came from like people helping me out. Like my boyfriend gave me like 2,000 of that. His mom gave me like 1,800 of that.
Yeah.
But
so also, everyone came together.
Huh?
I said, so like you had other people who helped and came together to put it together.
But it was like the whole COVID, like PPP loans. Yeah, like all of that stuff, like I was using to help. Oops, sorry about that. But yeah, all of that I was using to help. And then the last thing I wanted to say, it was more so like a production, I'll say, what I'm working on now is going to be a fashion show. But what the first project that I did was really just like a showcase. So I created all of this stuff to like tell the story of the collection, which is why I had the documentary and like the dance visual and all of this stuff. But I didn't think if there was a way to, I guess I didn't think about how to like get it done for free or cheaper. Even like when I started creating this fashion show, before I knew I was going to have a way for it to get paid for, I was thinking like, oh, I wonder if I could get sponsors or something like that. But I was kind of just like set on in my mind like I was going to have to come out of a lot of money. I think that's just like the natural place like my mind went.
Okay. And the only reason why I asked that was because I was intrigued, but also because one thing I have learned from other people who have been designers is actually doing stuff on a budget and being super resourceful. So I'll give you an example. Back in my early come up days, we needed to do a show for a client, right? And I'm not like a videographer or anything, but one of my boys had a business and he did that. But also the budget that we had was not something which was like great, right? It wasn't a big budget. It was an okay budget to like make moves here and there, but it wasn't a big budget. So I said, why don't we do a flash mob fashion show?
Oh, that's cool.
And what that meant was all the models got dressed up and everything or whatever. And we made signs. Well, not signs because signs sound like something you carried along, but what were they called? Banners and other signage that we had with the models. So we went on. So in London, you have the underground, right? And underground has a bunch of people coming in and going out, right? Kind of like the subway. So we were on the underground with the signs, with the models. So everything looked so out of place and so different. People were taking pictures, people were taking photos, people were filming, people were videoing. And we did that all the way around London to Trafalgar Square and all, like, so like for you, say it was New York, you'd be like, what's the garden called? Madison Square Garden. Your park. There's a really big park you have in New York as well. Times Square. So we went to Leicester Square. You guys would have had Times Square. So we did all of that. And basically what happened was we grew the followership and the customership through that because of a lot of, this is so crazy. But essentially it was free. You know, aside from the models and the makeup. You don't have to pay for the location. Exactly. So that's the reason why I brought up that story, because it was kind of just like thinking way outside the box, and we were able to make that happen, you know. So that is one skill I don't want you to ever not exercise. And it's not a case of being cheap. It's a way of how can you make this more creative and interesting.
Yeah. And I feel like before I've always like collaborated with people. I think for my last collaborated with people to get things to be like cheaper and stuff. Yeah. I think for my last project, I knew like stuff was gonna work out really well for me afterwards. And I was just like, I just really want to pay the people that help me. Like, I want to pay everybody that's involved, because I know, like, this is going to do some great things in my life. So I just thought, like, I want to finally pay people that's, like, a part of my projects, because I always, like, just collaborated with people, you know? Like, working with photographers for free, or videographers for free, or models for free. And so that really just all that was for that project. I was like, well, I want to finally be able to pay people. But I guess I really didn't think about, like, there were still other ways or even other things I could have did to make it, like, more, like, cheaper, more resourceful, things like that. And so I love that idea. I think that's really cool. Yeah,
defo. Like, go out and do it. Make it happen, you know, like, execute it within your own projects and stuff like that. And, I mean, there is just your essence, who you are as a person, you at your core, like that is there's no way that I don't see you being successful, especially the fact like you're like, I want all my people that are on my journey, I want them to win as well. Like, there is no way, in my opinion, like I see you're not going to be successful. So shout out to you, Jay. And we're definitely going to speak next week. And and yeah, like, shout out to you. And I'm hella proud of you because
thank you.
When we spoke last year and where you are at now, two different, like the level up
definitely is there. In a different place for sure.
Exactly, the level up is there. So mad proud of you, you know. And let me see if we've got any questions. Hi, Mama J in the building. Tabitha. Shout out to everyone who has rocked with us up until now. Oh, we've got a question from Laddie Lou. How did you discover your purpose? What advice can you give on finding your purpose? I think that's a good question. So,
yeah, I actually talked a little bit about this on like one of the social proof episodes.
Yeah.
But I'll say if you are in a place where you don't know your purpose, there are like I feel like there are three ways that, or three things you could do to start to like figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
So first, I want to say like your purpose starts to show up like when you're a child. So not like the exact thing that you're supposed to do, but the characteristics or like certain talents that you may need, whether it's creativity or being like super talkative or whatever the case, like, or just being like, maybe you're really good at comforting people or really good at asking questions or always asked a lot of questions or whatever it is like that you need in order to do what your purpose is, it's going to start showing up as a child. So like sit down and actually think like, okay, what are some things about me that I've been good at or that's been super present in my life since I was a kid. The second thing that I'll say you can think about when it comes to like figuring out what your purpose is it about you or is it about others? I believe
bars.
Like thank you. So look, I believe that like we are not here for ourselves. Like we are here for other people. Like we're here for impact.
Yep.
So if what you think your purpose is, if it only has to do with like, oh, like I'm doing this to become a millionaire, or I just want to, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, just if it only is something that benefits you, then I don't really think that's your purpose. Like, your purpose literally has to do with other people because that's why we're here. So you're looking for like the impact, basically, when you're thinking about what your purpose is. And then the last thing is like, it's going to be something you're passionate about. I believe that we should not be doing anything that we are not happy doing. Like whatever you are here to do, whatever your purpose is, you are going to enjoy it. You are going to love it. Like when it comes to fashion, I'll say like I'm grateful that I knew that being a fashion designer was something I was supposed to do in second grade. Everybody everybody doesn't get that though. But when I tell you I love being a fashion designer, like with all of my heart, like I truly love it. Like if I have $5 in my account, I'm gonna still find a way to make a gown or do something, you know? Like, and if I have thousands of dollars, I'm gonna invest a lot of that money back into my brand. And so whatever your purpose is, it's going to be something you're passionate about. Like life is too short. Life is too amazing and wonderful to be spending your time doing some type of career or job that you do not enjoy, that you are not passionate about. Like, that is one thing I want to help like so many people with. Like it's like a pet peeve, like, or not even a pet peeve, I just hate to see it. Like when I see somebody living life and they are not truly living life doing what they were here to do, or even trying to discover what it is. Like we are here for a purpose, for a reason, and whatever that is, we are going to enjoy it, we are going to love it. So I feel like we should all take the time to like literally figure it out, you know? So those are my like 3 tips I would suggest, or 3 steps to finding your purpose. Like however you want to call it, but yeah, that's that question.
The 3 Jayda secrets on getting your purpose. Step 1, notice what you're good at naturally from being a kid. Step 2,
Impact.
What's your impact? Step 3, passion. So there you have it. The 3 secret tips from Jayda on finding your purpose. That was super dope. Let me see if I just want to make sure we don't have any, because I remember seeing. Are you offering any classes over summer? Yeah, that was. That was actually. I think those were all the questions that.
I am offering classes over the summer. Oh my God, excuse me. I have a class actually that I'm starting in June, and then I'm doing my first in-person class. Well, my first one since COVID first started. I'm doing an in-person class in August, which will be really cool. It'll be about 10 to 12 designers. I'll be getting an Airbnb. And we'll basically spend 4 days from Thursday to Sunday creating a couture gown. Each designer will be creating their own look, but we'll be doing it together. And so yeah, it'll be super fun, super cool. I'm excited about that. But yes, my June class will be available for enrollment probably tomorrow. And then the August class that's in person will be available for enrollment late June.
Dope. There you have it. Folks. Jayda, this was amazing.
It was.
Thank you for being a guest. Thank you for rocking with us. Shout out to everyone who stayed throughout the live and stayed to the end. We're glad you guys. Your mom goes, it won't be cheap.
No, for real. I'm gonna have to have the prices up for that one.
Definitely. But don't worry, we're gonna speak. We're gonna have that convo, and then we're gonna take things to a whole different level. No pressure at all. But thank you to everyone who stayed with us to the end. Jayda, it was amazing. Thank you for being on this episode. For everyone who's listened, this has been another episode of the Trust Thyself Show, where we speak to people who go from being the underdogs to the heroes in their own stories. Jayda, it was a pleasure.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it was amazing. We were honored, and we'll definitely be catching up and be talking, and we'll probably bring you back when you're at 100K for a dress.
Yes. Look, I got you.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Shout out to Mama J as well. Mama Jayda in the building. Thank you for rocking with us as well. It was great to have you too. And I'm gonna let you go because I know people have been trying to call you all through this episode. So I know your Hollywood schedule is you need to get back to it. So it's cool. So I'm gonna let you go. Thank you again, and I guess I'm gonna see you in the week.
All right, I'll see you later. Thank you.